In December 1972, Apollo 17 Commander Gene Cernan left the final human footprints on the Moon. With that, the greatest adventure in human history was over. Missions 18, 19, and 20 were officially canceled due to budget cuts. Or so we were told. Then, in 2007, a man calling himself William Rutledge, a retired U.S. Air Force astronaut, began uploading classified mission footage to the internet. His videos claimed to prove that Apollo 20 flew in secret in August 1976. Their mission wasn't to collect rocks. It was to explore a 2-mile-long alien mothership that had crashed on the far side of the Moon 1.5 billion years ago. The official history of the Apollo program is a story of triumph, followed by abrupt finality. Between 1969 and 1972, 12 men walked on the surface of the Moon. The missions brought back priceless scientific data, achieved a monumental political goal, and inspired the world. But back on Earth, the political winds were shifting. The war in Vietnam was consuming the national budget, and with the race against the Soviets won, public interest in the costly moon landings began to fade. In January 1970, NASA announced the cancellation of Apollo 20, reallocating its massive Saturn V rocket to the Skylab program. Less than a year later, Apollo 18 and 19 were also cut. The remaining hardware was repurposed or turned into museum exhibits. The official story is that the dream of lunar exploration died a quiet death, a victim of budget reports and changing priorities. But another story claims the dream didn't die. It went black. According to whistleblowers, the real reason the Apollo program was shuttered wasn't a lack of money, but a discovery. The story begins with Apollo 15 in 1971. While orbiting the Moon, its high-resolution cameras were mapping a region on the far side near the Delport and Isaac craters. In the official NASA archives, in panoramic photos labeled AS15-P-9625 and 9630, a strange anomaly is visible. Proponents of the theory claim that nestled in the shadows is a massive, cigar-shaped object, clearly artificial, resting on the lunar surface. It wasn't a trick of light or a natural rock formation. It was a ship, an ancient, derelict alien mothership, miles long. Suddenly, the secrets of the universe were sitting just 250,000 miles away, waiting. This discovery was deemed too profound, too dangerous for public knowledge. The official Apollo program had to end, so the real program could begin. By the mid-1970s, the Cold War had entered a period of détente. The most visible sign of this was the Apollo-Soyuz test project in 1975, where American astronauts and Soviet cosmonauts docked their spacecraft in orbit and shook hands, a symbol of a new era of cooperation. According to the legend of Apollo 20, this public handshake was a cover for a much deeper, more secret alliance. The United States had the Saturn V rocket, the only vehicle capable of reaching the Moon, but the Soviets had detailed maps of the far side, and perhaps intelligence on the crashed ship from their own unmanned probes, like the failed Luna 15. A deal was struck. A secret joint mission would be launched to investigate the alien craft. The crew would be a mix of the best from both nations. The commander was William Rutledge, a veteran U.S. Air Force pilot. He was joined by American scientist Leona Snyder. But to seal the deal, the third seat was given to a hero of the Soviet Union, a man whose fame was second only to Yuri Gagarin, Alexei Leonov, the first human to ever walk in space. On August 16, 1976, under a cloak of military secrecy, a Saturn V rocket allegedly roared to life, not from the public launch pads of Kennedy Space Center, but from the secure confines of Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. The mission was designated Apollo 20. For 3 days, they traveled through the darkness. Their objective, an object of unimaginable age and origin. The footage Rutledge later leaked shows what they saw. We see the interior of the command module, a convincing replica of a real Apollo capsule. A mission patch is visible, showing the names Rutledge, Snyder, and Leonov, and a depiction of a craft on the lunar surface. Then, the flyover. As Apollo 20 passed over the Delport crater, the camera captured the alien ship. It was immense, its hull not smooth and metallic, but with an ancient, stone-like texture, covered in strange carvings and pockmarked by 1 billion years of micrometeorite impacts. Next to it lay the ruins of what the astronauts could only describe as a city. After establishing orbit, Commander Rutledge and Alexei Leonov boarded the lunar module, which they had named Phoenix. Their descent took them directly over the target. From a low altitude, the sheer scale of the mothership was overwhelming. It was more than a shipwreck. It was a mountain range carved into the shape of a vessel. They landed a safe distance away and proceeded on foot. Inside, the ship was a cavern of secrets. Strange, dried vegetation clung to the walls. Apollo 20 received a secondary objective from Mission Control, one that had been kept from them until they were safely in lunar orbit. They were to locate the last known position of Apollo 19. The official story was that Apollo 19 never flew. The truth, Rutledge was told, was that it had launched months earlier on a solo mission to this exact location and had vanished after entering the far side of the moon. All contact was lost. After a tense debate with ground control, who feared Apollo 20 would suffer the same fate, Rutledge and Leonov won the argument. You don't leave astronauts behind. They took the lunar rover across the gray landscape, following coordinates provided by Houston. As they navigated the edge of a large crater, Leonov pointed to the ground. In the undisturbed lunar dust were 2 parallel lines. They were rover tracks, but they weren't their own. They followed them. On the horizon, the black silhouette of the Apollo 19 lunar module came into view. It was intact, but sat at a hard angle, its landing nozzle crushed and partially buried. The crew hadn't left. As they approached, a wave of adrenaline washed over them. The hatch was slightly ajar, meaning the cabin was unpressurized. There were no survivors. Rutledge kicked something in the dust and brushed the soil away. It was a white glove with red fingertips. He looked for Leonov, who was already up the ladder and peering inside the dead spacecraft. "Will," Leonov's voice crackled over the radio, "there is a body." He paused. "But it is not human." Rutledge and Leonov floated into the silent, unpressurized cabin of Apollo 19. Strapped to a folding metal table was the body of a humanoid female. She was naked, but her skin was covered in a thin, waxy substance. She was about 5.5 feet tall, with 2 arms and 2 legs, but had 6 fingers on each hand. On her face was a complex device made of stalks that were fixed to her eyelids, cheeks, and mouth. The air inside smelled faintly of almonds. Rutledge felt for a pulse but found none. He placed a stethoscope on her chest but heard no heartbeat, only a faint whooshing sound, as if some liquid was still moving through her body. They determined she was neither alive nor dead, but held in some form of suspended animation. From then on, they called her Mona Lisa. The leaked footage allegedly shows what happened next. After pressurizing the cabin and removing their helmets, Rutledge and Leonov carefully began to remove the strange device from her face. As they did, a dark, viscous liquid erupted from her mouth and eyes, freezing instantly in the cold. It was then that a private channel opened from the command module. It was Snyder. She told them that Mission Control was watching everything. They already knew. They knew about Apollo 19's fate, and they knew about the alien. Their final orders were relayed through her. The mission wasn't just to explore, it was to retrieve. They were to bring the alien woman home. Her body was taken back to the Phoenix, secured for the journey, and returned to Earth. Rutledge claims she is still here, hidden away in a secret facility. Her existence the most closely guarded secret in human history. He also claims they brought back the head of a second, destroyed alien they found, and that the ship itself was not just a vehicle, but a mothership that had crossed the universe over 1.5 billion years ago. For 30 years, the story remained buried. Then, in 2007, an old man living in Rwanda decided it was time for the world to know the truth. So, a secret US-Soviet mission to the moon, a billion-year-old alien mothership, and the recovery of a perfectly preserved alien body. It's an incredible story, but is it true? At first glance, the evidence seems compelling. The foundation of the story rests on official NASA photos from the Apollo 15 mission, which do in fact show a long, cigar-shaped anomaly in the Delport Izhok region. The leaked videos, with their grainy quality and camera artifacts, have the look and feel of authentic footage from the 1970s. And the inclusion of a real high-profile figure like Alexei Leonov seems like a detail too risky for a simple hoax. Why would a fabricator choose a living person who could easily deny the story? But when you look closer, the entire narrative collapses under its own weight. The first problem is the ship itself. While the Apollo 15 photos do show something strange, higher resolution scans reveal the mothership to be a trick of light and shadow on a natural lunar hill. It's a classic case of pareidolia, the same psychological phenomenon that made people see a face on Mars. If there is no alien spaceship, the primary motive for the mission disappears. Then there is the logistical impossibility of a secret Apollo launch. All 15 Saturn V rockets ever built are accounted for. They were either launched publicly or are on display in museums. There was no secret 16th rocket. More importantly, the launch of a Saturn V is an earth-shattering event, creating a seismic shock and a fireball visible for hundreds of miles. The idea that one could be launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base in Southern California, a heavily populated area, without being noticed by millions of people, is simply not credible. The final nails in the coffin come from the digital fingerprints all over the leaked footage. The dramatic shot of the alien city is a confirmed fake, a digital composite of an actual Apollo 17 lunar photo, and a science fiction painting by artist Bruce Pennington. The shaky flyover of the mothership appears to be filmed using physical models. And in 2007, a French artist and sculptor named Thierry Speth came forward and admitted he was the creator of the entire hoax. The Mona Lisa alien, he revealed, was an artful clay sculpture, and his artistic portfolio includes other works with a strikingly similar style. The legend of Apollo 20 is a complete fabrication. It's a piece of internet folklore, brilliantly executed and compelling, but a work of fiction nonetheless. The real question isn't whether the mission happened, but why so many people wanted to believe it. And the answer, I think, is a sad one. The story of Apollo 20 provides a far more exciting and meaningful reason for the end of lunar exploration than the disappointing truth. It's more comforting to believe we stopped going to the moon because we found something profound or dangerous, a secret too big for humanity to handle, than it is to accept the mundane reality. We stopped because of budget cuts. We stopped because of politics. We stopped because, after we had beaten the Soviets, we simply lost interest. The Apollo program was arguably the greatest achievement in the history of our species. We reached another world, but instead of that being the first step in our journey to the stars, it became the end of the line. The Apollo 20 story is a modern myth created to fill the void left by that abandoned dream. It's a fantasy that papers over a collective failure of imagination and will. The truth of Apollo 20 isn't that a secret is being hidden from us. The truth is that for 50 years, we have been hiding from our own potential. The stars are still there, waiting, but we chose to turn our backs on them. And that is a far greater tragedy than any crashed alien ship. Thanks so much for watching until the end. If you like conspiracy theories and stories, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and let's build an amazing community. You know how it works. Every like, every comment, and every new subscriber is a signal. It's the only way we can beat the algorithm and get these stories out to more people who need to hear them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if there's a story you want me to uncover next, drop that in the comments too. Until next time.